Do not open the last present. If you're watching this on Christmas Eve, you should stop. Turn this video off. Because every year, one family forgets a rule, and when the knocking starts at exactly 11:58 p.m., it's already too late. My family didn't believe in rules. We believed in Christmas lights, music playing too loud, and presents stacked under the tree. That's probably why none of us survived last Christmas. Christmas Eve always felt safe. Warm lights filled the living room, wrapping paper littered the floor, and the clock above the fireplace ticked closer to midnight. When it hit 11:58 p.m., the knocking began. 3 slow knocks at the front door. Not loud. Not desperate. Patient. The kind of knocking that feels like whoever is outside already knows you're coming. My mom froze mid-step. My dad asked if someone had invited anyone over. No one answered. The knocking came again, same rhythm, same calm certainty. That was when I felt it, the kind of fear you feel before something terrible happens, not after. When my dad opened the door, no one was there. Just snow falling silently. And a single present sitting perfectly centered on the doormat. Red wrapping paper. Gold ribbon. A tag written in careful handwriting. From Santa. To the family. My little brother smiled. Nobody else did. Because the snow around the box was untouched. No footprints. No tracks. Nothing to explain how it got there. We brought the present inside. That was our mistake. The smell hit us first. Not rot. Not sweetness. Something cold and metallic, like old coins soaked in blood. Then my grandma screamed. She stared at the box like it was a corpse sitting under our tree. No, she whispered. Not again. She told us about the rule. A rule older than Christmas itself. She said that during the longest nights of winter, something old walks the world, something that counts families the way children count gifts. Every year, one present must remain unopened. It isn't a gift. It's a payment. If you leave it alone, it takes only that. If you don't, it takes everything. My dad laughed. That's when the lights flickered. The room went cold enough that we could see our breath. And the present moved. Just slightly. Like it was breathing. Then we heard footsteps on the roof. Heavy. Slow. Each step pressing down like the ceiling might collapse. Long nails scraped across wood. And a voice slid down the chimney, low and wet and smiling. Have you been good? The fire went out instantly. Total darkness. Except for the glow of the Christmas tree and the present beneath it, expanding and shrinking like lungs filling with air. My dad grabbed the box. Grandma screamed for him to stop. He didn't listen. Inside was hair, frozen, matted, still attached to skin. A child's scarf. My brother's scarf. Then the box unfolded wider than it should have, stretching deeper than possible, and something climbed out. It wore red, but not fabric. Skin. Stitched together with black thread. Its mouth was carved into a permanent grin filled with broken teeth. Antlers twisted out of its skull, tearing flesh as they grew. When it laughed, the house shook. My father was gone first, dragged screaming into the box like he weighed nothing. My mother tried to run. The thing caught her by the hair, whispered, "Naughty," and snapped her bones like ornaments. I hid behind the couch, shaking, while it fed. Chewing. Laughing. My little brother crawled toward me, crying. The thing heard him. It always hears children. Then my grandma stood up. She walked calmly to the tree and picked up a small, dusty box no one had noticed all night. The real last present. She placed it at the creature's feet and whispered, "For you." The thing stopped. Smiled wider. Took the box. And vanished up the chimney, dragging the other present with it. Silence returned. Snow fell softly outside. I was the only one left alive. Now every Christmas Eve, I live alone. I don't decorate. I don't celebrate. But at exactly 11:58 p.m., I hear the knocking. And when I open my door, there's always a present waiting. I never open it. Because sometimes, if I listen closely, I can hear my family screaming from inside the box. Still waiting. The carolers only come when you're dying. People think Christmas carolers are harmless. Smiling faces. Bells. Warm voices singing about joy. That's because they've never heard them sing outside their bedroom door at 3:17 a.m. I was awake when it happened. That's the detail that still matters to me. I wasn't dreaming. I wasn't drunk. I wasn't confused. I was dying. I just didn't know it yet. The first sound wasn't singing. It was breathing. Slow. Careful. Right outside my apartment door. I live on the 4th floor. No elevator. No reason for anyone to be standing there in the middle of the night. Especially not on Christmas Eve. Then the bell rang. Not my doorbell. A handbell. One gentle shake. Then silence. I held my breath, listening. My phone read 3:17 a.m. The air felt heavy, like the room had filled with water. I told myself it was a prank. Some drunk idiots. Some tradition I didn't know about. Then they started singing. Soft at first. Out of tune. Wrong. Musical note: Silent Night, Holy Night. Musical note. There were at least 5 voices. Too close. Too clear. Like they were standing inches from the door. I noticed something immediately, something that made my skin crawl. They weren't singing to the apartment. They were singing to me. Every line dragged my name into the melody. Not spoken. Not shouted. Sung. Perfectly. I didn't answer. That was mistake number 1. The bell rang again. Harder this time. The singing grew louder, slower, stretching each word until it felt like fingers pulling at my ribs. Musical note: Sleep in heavenly peace. Musical note. That's when I smelled it. Formaldehyde. Hospitals. Funeral homes. Death. My chest tightened suddenly, like an invisible hand had wrapped around my lungs. I gasped, sucking in air that felt sharp and thin. Pain bloomed in my left arm. That's when I understood. They weren't outside because it was Christmas. They were outside because my body had already started giving up. That I collapsed onto the floor, crawling toward the door. I don't know why. Some instinct. Some animal part of my brain screaming that I needed to see them. The singing stopped. Complete silence. Then a whisper slid through the door crack. We're early this year. I looked through the peephole. I wish I hadn't. They stood in a perfect semicircle. 6 of them. All wearing red scarves. All holding songbooks. All smiling too wide. Their eyes were wrong. Cloudy. Milky. Like glass marbles dropped into corpses. Their mouths moved even when they weren't singing, lips twitching like something underneath was trying to get out. One of them, a woman with her neck bent slightly to the side, raised her bell. And rang it. The sound went straight through my skull. Musical note, "O come, all ye faithful." Musical note. My vision blurred. My heart stuttered, skipping beats like it was forgetting how to work. I pounded on the door, screaming for them to leave. They leaned closer. The woman spoke without stopping the song. "We only sing for the dying." Another voice added, cheerful and calm, "And you're very late." The door handle began to turn. I don't remember unlocking it. I don't remember deciding anything. I just remember the door opening. And them stepping inside. The apartment smelled like pine and decay. Their shoes didn't touch the floor. They hovered inches above it, drifting closer as they sang. The bell rang again, and my heart seized so hard I thought it had burst. I fell back onto the couch, clutching my chest. One of them knelt beside me. His face was inches from mine. His breath was cold. "Don't worry," he whispered. "We walk you through it." The singing softened. Became a lullaby that I felt my body growing heavy. Numb. Peaceful in the most terrifying way. That's when I saw it. Behind them. In the corner of the room. Another caroler. This one wasn't singing. It was watching. And it looked angry. The angry one stepped forward. "You're not done yet," it hissed. The others froze. Their smiles faltered. The angry one turned to me and pressed a cold finger into my chest. Pain exploded through me. I screamed. "You still have time," it growled. "And they don't like that." The bell rang wildly. The singing collapsed into screaming. The carolers backed away, faces twisting, voices warping into something animal. Next year, they hissed in unison. And then they were gone. I woke up in a hospital. Heart attack. They said I was lucky. They said someone found me just in time. I don't tell anyone about the carolers. Because last night, at exactly 3:17 a.m., I heard a bell ring in the hallway. And a familiar song drifting closer to my door. They don't sing for the living. They only come back to finish the song. Santa comes after midnight. Everyone knows Santa comes at midnight. What they don't tell you is that he only comes for the houses that are still awake. We were. My family always stayed up late on Christmas Eve. It was tradition. Movies playing softly, cocoa cooling on the table, lights glowing like nothing bad could ever happen in a room that warm. At 12:01 a.m., the power went out. Not a flicker. Not a surge. Everything died at once. The house went black, and the silence felt wrong, thick, pressing against my ears. Then we heard it. The sleigh bell. One single chime. Not from the sky. From inside the house. My mother whispered, "That's not funny." No one was laughing. Another bell rang. Closer. Right above us. From the ceiling. Something heavy dragged across the roof. Slow. Careful. Each movement made the beams groan like the house was trying to warn us. My little sister tugged my sleeve. "Why is Santa walking?" I didn't answer. I couldn't. The fireplace began to smell like burning hair. Then the ash shifted. Something inside the chimney exhaled. A voice followed, deep, cracked, and smiling through rot. "Awake children, my favorite. The Christmas lights flickered back on. Just the lights. Nothing else. And in their red and green glow, we saw him. He unfolded out of the fireplace like something that had been forced into a space far too small. Too tall. Too thin. His suit wasn't fabric, it looked grown, fused to his skin. The beard hung in wet clumps. His eyes were black holes that reflected the lights back at us, stretched and warped. And his smile. It was too wide, Santa, my sister whispered. He turned his head slowly until his neck cracked. Not the one you practiced for. He sniffed the air. You stayed awake, he said softly. That means you wanted to see me. My father stepped in front of us. Get out of my house. Santa laughed. The sound made my ears bleed. He moved without walking. One moment by the fire. The next behind my father. There was a wet sound. Then. Something heavy hit the floor. Santa wiped his hands on his suit, which drank the blood in greedily. Parents always try first, he sighed. It never helps. My mother screamed. Santa looked annoyed. Inside voices, he said. He reached into his sack. And pulled out faces. Human faces. Some small. Some old. All frozen in screams. Gifts, he explained. For children who listened. He dragged my mother toward the tree. Hold still, he told her kindly. When he was done, she didn't have a face anymore. Just red. I grabbed my sister and ran upstairs. The bells followed us. Always behind. Never rushing. He didn't need to. We locked ourselves in my room. My sister sobbed into my chest. He knows where we are. The ceiling creaked. Snow drifted down through the cracks. A shadow pressed against the door. Then his voice, soft and patient. You can hide, Santa whispered. But I already counted you. The door bent inward. Wood splintered. My sister screamed. Santa reached through the opening and wrapped his fingers around her ankle. She was pulled screaming into the hallway. Her voice cut off suddenly. Like a light snapping out. I hid under the bed. I watched his boots stop inches from my face. I watched him kneel. I watched him smile. Almost forgot you. I don't remember escaping. I don't remember the police. I don't remember the neighbors screaming. I only remember waking up in a hospital bed on Christmas morning. They told me there was a fire. They told me I was lucky. They told me no one else made it out. But here's the part they don't know. Every Christmas Eve, at exactly 12:01 a.m., my power goes out. And somewhere in my house, a bell rings. Because Santa never forgets a house that stayed awake. And next time, I won't be alone.